Hello everyone, Jakub Mamulski here. It's mostly true that working in teams makes life easier. You get a broader perspective and you can utilize other team members' skill sets. However, I've mostly been doing my work as a community specialist alone. Well, to an extent. There have always been graphic designers, proofreaders, other people to cooperate with, but when it comes to the core areas of my job, I didn't have many people who helped me. However, being in charge of communities means that you may potentially have a ton of people who would be willing to help. In this video, I'll talk about two cases in which I was able to find people eager to help me accomplish my objectives, who were in it as players and often paying customers, simply wanting to lend their hand as honest admirers of the games. And these cases are drastically different from each other, so here I go. Case number 1. The Pride of Taern. I decided to create the Pride of Taern's Facebook group quite a while ago, and it's been doing pretty fine ever since. As a matter of fact, it was doing well enough that when I switched to working entirely remotely, I found it hard to keep up with what was going on there. This group's members tend to be very active, as the group revolves around selling in-game items, finding clan members, and generally creating discussion. The thing is that we tend to allow even slightly edgier memes and such. However, the group ought to be heavily moderated because of strong anti-cussing policy and heavy tracking of attempts to sell accounts, since it's not allowed by our terms of service. It was pretty time consuming, so I decided that it wouldn't hurt to have a bunch of helpers recruited from within the community itself. And I'm going to read the translated copy of the post that I published. Group moderator recruitment. Our dear community, there is almost 5,500 of us in the group. A lot of people, a lot of content, and a lot of work. This is why we want to announce a moderator recruitment. Tasks of such a person would mostly include helping Taernians who have questions about the game or customer service, with accepting pending posts and people who would like to join the group, with searching for content against group's rules. What would be good to have? You should behave well, vast knowledge about the game, ability to handle tough subjects and topics, proactivity and fairness, and most importantly, a will to help other people. And what do we give in return? Mostly bragging rights, since you will be a part of the internal team, and a small pay in platinum, which is the Pride of Taern's hard currency. Applications telling us why you should become a mod shall be sent to our Facebook page's DMs. We don't exclude a possibility of recruiting a number of people. Thank you for your applications in advance. Cheers. And as you can hear, this post was pretty much a job offer at its core. Even though I've taken part in a bunch of recruitment meetings as a recruitment specialist, this was actually the first time I was really in charge from start to finish when it comes to the recruitment process. Well, I don't want to brag, but I feel like I nailed it. In fact, the post performed so well that we got over 80 applications. It turned out to be quite a hassle, and I had to postpone recruitment results because of the amount of people willing to be a part of the team, and because I was trying to do my job as well as possible and to pick the best possible candidates. After I was done, I shared info to the ones who got recruited, and 3 great people became moderators. It took me about a day to train them, and they really did surpass my expectations. These people asked quickly, and even though I had to invest a considerable amount of time, they are basically running the group. They also don't have many questions, and they rarely require help, which they are usually capable of. They are asking each other for help, and I rarely have to intervene. And they became pretty much autonomous and as effective as possible in this scenario. And I would like to mention some characteristics of the case. The main goal was to make group management easier. And obviously it had both a company and player oriented approach. The second characteristic is that it was a high key, like high key, low key. It was a high key recruitment. It was generally known that there was recruitment, that there are going to be new mods. Yeah, so that's it. There was positive approach of the community. Many people were willing to take part in the recruitment. It was a relatively long and tiring training effort. And on the other hand, it quickly went from high maintenance to low maintenance, and they basically became a group of autonomous volunteers, I'd say. And it was directed towards working within a group owned by the company itself. So yeah, it was like entirely internal from our point of view. But the second case, the case of Fishing Clash, is absolutely drastically different. And despite the fact that we were trying to find people who would be able to help us with moderating the group that we had, and we even had a bunch of candidates, but they declined our offers, often due to personal reasons, we haven't had much success when it comes to finding mods, so we decided to take another path for Fishing Clash. My main goal at TSG is to gather info about what players think about our games, ongoing events, bugs, etc. I realize lately that in order to fulfill this goal, I don't really need to engage anyone who's a part of our main group, as there is a bunch of groups run by the players and a bunch of them is pretty big. I'm also aware that their policies are way less strict than in our group, so I'm aware that there is some crucial feedback in these groups which goes under our radar. And this is why, after a short conversation, I've basically recruited one of such groups' admins. This person's main goal, from my perspective, is to gather such feedback and provide weekly reports to me in the form of spreadsheets with dates, links, quotes and short descriptions of these opinions and problems. And in exchange, we provide an amount of in-game currencies once a month to this person. This case is pretty recent, as at least when I was writing this article, we started cooperating less than 2 weeks ago, and it's probably been more than a year now. Yeah, but whatever. I could already tell that these reports rock, and have already provided interesting and valuable feedback for our development team. Not only are they extremely engaged when it comes to the game and community, starting and growing a group is a testament to that, they also are simply able to provide info about stuff which we had trouble coming by. And the characteristics of this case are, the main goal was to find a good source of info which could be hard to come by in my case as a company's official, and to improve the process of gathering feedback. It was a low-key recruitment. It was actually more like headhunting. Members of our group didn't really know about it, and I'm pretty certain that the members of other groups didn't know either. There was no approach of the community, and it was kept like that because we didn't want their opinions to be biased. There was a very specific and narrow set of candidates, and there was pretty much no training effort. As in the previous case, we do have an autonomous volunteer, and they demand virtually no maintenance, aside from providing some soft currency and hard currency. And this was directed towards groups owned by third persons, not by the company itself. Yeah, so let's move on to the conclusion then. And there are many different ways to describe the scope in which a community manager's work can be done, and even when it comes to finding people who would be willing to help, approach and intricacies can make them an entirely different experience, which can be driven by multiple circumstances such as approach of the community, your goal, keeping everything high or low key, amount of training effort, utilizing a community which is fully in your control or one which is independent from you, and the amount of managing your helpers actually do. And I hope that you found it interesting, and remember that if you want to conduct such activities, you really need to keep in mind a couple of things. The first thing is the reliability of the candidate, because you want the candidate to be as impartial and as effective as possible. Second thing, you need to take care of your studio's, of your company's goals, which is pretty obvious. And the third thing I'd say is really about the maintenance. I'm not saying that high maintenance teams are bad by design, but on the other hand, they really do demand more work, and I'm not really a fan of putting an awful lot of work. Well, it didn't really sound right, did it? I mean, there is a lot of things that could be done aside from managing a team when you have more time to do so. And low maintenance teams are, I believe, really the best. And by maintenance, we also need to take under consideration the costs of such projects, and it really depends on your company's policies regarding giving away soft and hard currency, especially in the world of free-to-play games. But yeah, these are like probably the three most important things to consider. Yeah, so that's it. Thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to subscribe and to press the bell icon. It's been literally like years since I last published on YouTube on a different channel doing completely different stuff. And yeah, I hope that you liked it. Yeah, so anyway, if you would like to hire me or something, here are my contact details, and cheers.